All right. Sorry,
Just
we're late,
be-
everybody.
Just be glad we're on it all.
Holy cow, man! Like we take one show off,
One
and like our whole rhythm is like, woo, out the window. Holy cow!
What in the world?
Oops. Sorry, guys.
Oh, there he is.
It's a good thing you don't use a green screen. Your whole room would disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
right, you would be
I totally spaced on what time it was. Sorry about that.
You would be a floating head, is what would happen.
Would be.
I'm a floating head.
It'd be kind of interesting, actually.
Right, but
we'll see if we were growing our crowd or if everybody went, you know what? You guys took a week off. Yeah. So.
Which really is 2 weeks off for us.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's almost like a month. It's ridiculous.
Right. So hold on. Can we stop for a second and admire Rob's room?
I know. It looks
Holy
great.
Crap.
Oh, sure.
You did a lot of work, man. That looks good.
Thanks. I was trying to go for more, but I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to Panda because I would love. I don't want to use a green screen, but I would love to have it kind of like slightly out of focus in the background. But I think I'm too close to my background for that to even work.
I think you can do that with some camera tricks.
Yeah, I think I need to have. Nick said something about an f-stop. And I don't know
the lower the f-stop or the lower the f-stop, like a 1.8 or 1.4, those will give you more of a bouquet look is what they call it, where everything in the background looks kind of fuzzy but the subject is clear.
Are you trying to do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, maybe so not. That looks great.
You could probably do that on the webcam too. I think it's got a feature for it.
So go down to settings.
They're talking to me.
Yeah, we're already walking you through this apparently.
Yes. Go down to settings.
3 weeks and it's a troubleshooting stream, guys.
That's right.
We'll get to fun games at some point.
I'm an IT guy. It's like a reflex.
All right.
So click on settings, then click on virtual background.
Okay.
Then click on blur.
Blur.
I don't see no blur. Tech help groups.
It's
welcome to Comcast, the home of Xfinity, where we troubleshoot poorly.
That's a little too pronounced. I don't like that. Can you adjust the intensity?
I'm having troubleshooting PTSD now.
It's blur on, blur off.
Blur on, blur off.
All right.
Blur on, blur off.
Let's just run with it.
What's up, board?
It's
the Multiverse Beta box. That seems kind of
we're doing
wild.
this live.
I watched a trailer for that today.
I got an email to get into that beta.
Hey, Rhea. Yeah, a buddy of mine got one too. I don't think I'm subbed to like anything that would actually get me on an email list for that, but they seem to be throwing out all sorts of codes for that. It looks really interesting. From what I've seen, it looks like another Smash type game, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm glad there's more competition in that space now. So that's a good thing. Anytime you can get more on that, hopefully they don't kind of oversaturate it and kind of kill the market. But it's good to see more stuff in that space.
Yeah, I'll tell you. In better news, Fall Guys, when it comes out in a couple of weeks to Xbox and Switch, adding to the PlayStation version, it is going free to play.
Is Fall Guys still a thing?
Fall Guys, Mike?
I think it will be when they go free to play and then they add Xbox and Switch. It was a fun game. I have it on I have it on PlayStation, and I
don't like it.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious and hysterical and absolutely a blast. Maybe for an hour when I played it, and then after that, I was like, the novelty wore off, and it just was clunky and frustrating and annoying to play. The charm only goes so far, but when your character controls like a jelly bean,
that's the point.
I know that's the point.
It might be the point, but I don't like that point. So it was lost on me. But I did the aesthetic and kind of the energy sold me on it. What's up, Mazen? You should. Did think we could all use a Monday kiss.
Hey, Dorkside.
Dork.
What's up,
Oh
Dark
god,
Side?
we got a great crowd coming in tonight. But yeah, my enthusiasm for that one waned pretty quickly.
Yeah.
After about 2 or 3 rounds, because the jumping is intentionally bad, and if you're gonna give me a platformer, I want good jumping controls. Otherwise, it just makes me irritable, and I just wasn't having a whole lot of fun with it. So
That's how I felt.
just tapped out.
It's not a platformer in the way that you think it is. That's, I think, part of it. It's more of a competitive game than a platformer.
In the very loosest sense. I've seen plenty on it, and I've played it a little bit. But
yeah. I played it for a couple nights, and I probably put maybe, I want to say 4 or 5 hours into it. What's up, Carla? I don't know, fun idea. I don't know if there's enough there for me to. What sucks is that I not only bought the game. I bought the game and then realized that I also had to have PlayStation Plus to play it.
Well, yeah.
And I noticed too late that when you get PlayStation Plus, you get it for free, the game. But I'd already bought the game first. So I paid like $25 for the goddamn game, or maybe even $30. I might have paid $10 for it. So I was that kind of soiled my enthusiasm for it even
on
more.
Steam with the intent of playing it with a buddy of mine who really wanted to play it together, and then we never did a single round. And I'm like, all right, I'll do a couple rounds and see how this is, and just decided that unless I had like a big group of people playing it, this was not really a fun game for me. Might be more fun with a big group of people, like if you were to do like one of the Gamers United thing and we got like 20 people on.
Yeah, if you know like everyone there, or a good portion of people there, where if you can pick out like 10 people in the little lineup, that'd be kind of fun. But
that's not good, Born. That sucks. So we've had a long break. How have you guys been?
Great.
Good. I mean, good.
Yeah, everything's better when you're not on my show. That's how it is.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. Yeah, because, when I don't have somebody telling me to shut up, I'm in great
silence.
No, things are big. I'm glad you do. Glad you do. So.
How's it going, John? Good to see you.
What's up, John? I'm glad that you do. No, I've been good, been busy.
I did see your little camping trip.
Which one?
I guess the one you're posting all weekend about. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he just started.
Yeah, I just got on Twitter.
Brand new to Discord.
You just got on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw the follow and I went, "Holy crap!" He broke down and got on Twitter. That's so weird.
I was tired of missing out on all the juicy gossip. Everyone's all posting. Look at so said on Twitter. I want to see what they said on Twitter.
Nick, I give him 3 weeks. And then he will be off Twitter.
I don't know, man. He seems to kind of wallow in it. Hi, by the way, Hugo. I didn't say hi earlier, but welcome. I think he'll be fine. I have no worries about him. Brub is a closet drama dweller.
Dude, I don't even make any pretense. I'm a troll, and I love the drama.
It's just funny because
as much as I try to avoid it,
anybody.
No. As much as I say I try to avoid it, it is like, it is that sweet siren song of a salacious.
Welcome to the shit show. It is a shit show. It truly is. It's a mess.
But all jokes aside, that's where everyone hangs out. That's where like I can kind of chat with everyone. Whereas there's like 5 Discord channels that we're all on, but no one's on just one. We don't have like a single. I gotta figure out how
to get more people on ours. I've got the open link on my channel description.
We'll see
nobody uses
like Zombie. All these other people have their own Discords also. And Heavyweights. Yeah. So I'm on a whole bunch of people's Discords, and they all kind of dabble on other people's Discords too. But for the most part, they're focused on like Nick. You're focused on yours, I would imagine.
I'm actually focused on all of them but mine most of the time because we don't talk too much on mine. Every now and then we'll have like a really
everyone's on everyone else's.
We'll have like a great conversation and then it goes silent. And I often don't have a whole lot new to say, so I don't often say anything unless somebody's talking, and then I'll join in. So it's a thing.
That's when you just jump on SGR's Discord and we finish the conversation there.
Yeah, pretty much. Too old for Discord, so he shut it down. Yeah, I am waiting so hardcore for the Darkstalkers thing. That's one of the reasons I used it. Yeah, we're all over the place like a rash. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
Like a rash.
So I haven't had too much going on. I've been tinkering around with my new toy a little bit. I got a couple of videos out on that. I've been trying to think of what I want to focus on ideas for like a new game history thing and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of working and living life. This weekend was way busier than I thought it was going to be because we were out most of Friday, and then Saturday we had like a grill out, our first grill out of the season. So that took a good chunk of the day. Got to try the Steam Deck out on the TV in like co-op mode. So I got a couple controllers hooked to it, got it hooked to the TV, and that worked really well. I was happy that because that was one of the reasons I bought it in the first place, was to take it over to my buddy's house. We could hook up a couple controllers to it, and then we could either do fighting games that I have on Steam that I don't have on another platform, or beat 'em ups, or anything co-op that I have on that we could do that way. So that was nice to at least get a field test on and see how that feels, and I think it's going to work out pretty well, which is good.
Now, I didn't watch your second video on it. Sorry, Nick. I've been
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
So how does it connect to a does it connect like a Nomad to the TV, or does it connect like?
It's got a USB-C cable that you can either get a USB-C to HDMI, which is what I did for the TV, or you can buy like a little docking station like thing, like I've got here. And you can connect that to it, so you can do like keyboard, USBs, etc., all that kind of stuff on it, right? So it'll do either one. Okay. What I'll probably use for streaming now on, the one thing I don't like about it right now, and I covered it in the emulation video, is if you're in like an emulated game, like an imported game, it doesn't necessarily support using an external controller first. It wants to use the gamepad because that's always player one. So on a lot of my emulated games, it defaults to the gamepad. So if I'm not going to be sticking with a game for a while, it's almost not worth switching off the gamepad to play. So I'll just hold the gamepad and play, as opposed to reordering the controllers, which is what you have to do. It doesn't take that long, but it's kind of it's a minor annoyance that I don't like. So it's one of those things, but that's kind of what I've been digging into. I started digging into one of my Evercade collections. I was messing around with the Indie Heroes collection on that one. I want to try to get something out on that this week. There's a lot of really good games on that one.
Is that the one that Flea is on?
Yeah, Flea's on it. Doodle World's on it. Twin Dragons is on it.
You were telling me about that collection.
Yeah, the thing that I found out after the fact, and I'll cover it in the video, some of those are free. Like, if you have a way to emulate them, or like a flash cart you can put them on, they're just free.
Technically, all the games that came on the Evercade are free, but
yeah, I know. But I'm talking like mostly these indie ones. So. You can like buy. You know what I mean? Like, Doodle World is like $10 to buy digitally. Debtor is like, I want to say $3 right now on a couple of platforms. So that one costs a little bit of money. It's not too expensive. It's a fun game. They're fun games. I like them. There's a couple of them on there I really don't care for. Like, they have chintzy platforming that I don't like, or it's a shooter that feels kind of slow and the shooting range is kind of weak, and I just don't care for it personally. But there's probably about 5 or 6 games on there that are easily really, really strong titles, right? That are totally worth playing. However, you can get your hands on whatever platform is, because most of these are available on things other than the Evercade cart or physical, right? So you can get them on like Steam. You can get some of them on Switch, etc., that kind of thing. So you have multiple ways of getting all of these. This is just a convenient way of having them all on one cart.
Still hasn't been enough for me to plunk down an Evercade.
It's a neat idea. I just have all those games that I want on.
Right. It's a mixed bag. It depends if you want to get into it. Depends if you want to collect for it. It's cheap enough to collect for that it's not that big of a deal.
No,
I kind of like supporting it.
That's what I like most about it. I just like that it exists. It's a neat.
Absolutely.
Thing.
No, absolutely. And it's it's good for people who don't do some of the things that we do to play those same games.
Right.
You know, if you don't want to plunk down, $100 on a Razer Kishi and use your phone to do that stuff, then the Evercade is a great
Well, some of these
option
I've
for you.
never heard of. Like there were a couple of these that I had never heard of that are really cool games. Like I was disappointed that I hadn't heard more on these because they are that neat. So I'm going to highlight those too. But that's kind of what I've had going on.
That's right.
And I know Mike's been working on like a VCS reveal thing kind of in the background. He's pretty excited about that. He got his hands on one of those.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, thanks to I got a great shout out to TV's Hasselhoff, who I actually met over this weekend, and he is every bit as cool a guy as as we think he is. And what's really so how it happened was I was in the chat on Amico Forever. We were talking about the VCS, and I was like, I probably would have gotten one for $99 because I want to do emulation on it. That's really what I wanted to get it for, and I missed out on the fire sale. He hit me up on Discord and said, if you're interested, I got 2 of them or something like that during that fire sale. He says one of them's still sitting in the box. I have one. It's an Onyx system. I'll sell it to you. And I was like, well, all right. So turns out he lives in the vicinity of where I was camping by about an hour and a half. So he was out running around on Saturday, and he said, I know where your campsite is, which is always a creepy thing to say.
Yeah, weird.
But he goes, no, he says, I know where. Yeah, that's not a night. That's not a Friday.
I knew where you camped last summer.
Well, let's and it wasn't lost on me that last Friday was Friday the 13th. Anyway, so on Saturday he drove over. I came over, dropped off the VCS, dropped off some great snacks from like the Lancaster area, and we hung out, talked for like good half hour, 45 minutes, and I came home with a brand new shiny Atari VCS, and I am working
Welcome,
on.
B-Chan. Good to see you, man.
Hey, B-Chan. I'm working on an unboxing video now, which I am just kind of tweaking. So I've got a kind of a unique way I'm trying to do this unboxing, because unlike a lot of people I see on the internet that do these unboxings, I don't have a really good table, and really I have a pool table with a brown cover on it. So I thought, let me try something a little different. Nick, you've seen it. And while I want to
back in the box.
Yes, in reverse. While I want to change,
instead of an unboxing video, we're gonna do a boxing
video. Right.
We're gonna return all the things.
Right. I'm gonna go drop it off on Hasselhoff's doorstep. No. So I'm trying something different to do that, and what I'm gonna do on this first video is show it coming out of the box, show hooking it up, and go through like the setup and getting it to where it needs to be. And then I'll start doing some streams on the games, maybe do a couple of other videos on stuff. But what was really cool about it was that version, that bundle comes with the classic joystick. And while it's not exactly as good as the original classic, the original 2600 joystick in the stick itself, it's a little more of a digital joystick. It's got some really cool features on it, including a spinning the stick spins, and it actually works, and you can play Tempest with this controller. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm working on, that's what I'm working on now. So
nice. Matthews, what you got in the pipe so far? Been doing?
We have an older cat who is approaching his golden years. So my wife decided to get him a kitten this weekend. She got him a kitten. I think the way she kind of sold it was having a younger cat around might bring some of his younger cat back out. But cynically, I know that she's now kind of starting to think about that time. So she's trying. So the kitten will help bridge the gap, if there is any, So it's been a long time since I've actually had a kitten, and I've forgotten what little gigantic
they can
terrorists they are. So
I've never had a kitten. I've always had full-grown cats.
And Scepter, he has not been really happy with the kitten. I honestly, I was kind of hoping that he just spend the prerequisite 2 or 3 days hissing and kind of batting him around, and then go into like a fatherhood. I kind of thought I'd bring up these parental instincts that he didn't even know he had. He has not done that yet. And matter of fact, he's sending the wrong message to her by he's letting her chase him around and annoy him. So he's kind of putting her in a dominant position. So it's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You need to be, you're 4 times her size. Slap her around a little bit, and he's not.
I believe Paradox has put it perfectly. That's everything an old person wants, a young person trying to forcibly play with them.
Yes. Anyway, but she's freaking cute, and it's been fun. So yeah, we can't get a puppy, so we got a kitten instead.
I'll be honest. I as far as maintenance and care, I prefer cats to dogs. Dogs are super sweet, but they're just they seem to be much more of a mess, at least over their lifespan. Like cats are kind of a nightmare as far as being messy as they get really old. I just accrue that to them being old. Like every cat I've had that was about like hyper clean just became like a train wreck as they get like to that age. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's when I kind of know, oh, this isn't going to last long. This is not long for now. That's when I start getting worried. Like when they're not as tidy as they usually are. Like if the cat's always a mess, I'd probably never know. But I've rarely had a cat that's just a train wreck from the start.
Train wreck.
Yeah, it's like I think she'll work out fine. But god damn. And also, I've also forgotten how quiet they are. So it's like a little ninja walking around, about to chew on something. So,
it's true. It's true. God. All of a sudden, you're just like get attacked, and it's like, holy crap!
Yeah, she's falling to the couch, so she'll just leap at you and.
It's old now. I'm a young woman. I gotta feel like I'm in my 20s again. I wouldn't feel that way. I'd be like, just slow down for a minute. Oh God.
I just love how he ended that with, kitten, but damn.
Like Nick, I'm just gonna drop a picture real quick. So
You gonna shoot the link over into the
new cat parent here, so I got to show off a picture of my new kid. But
that's fine. Yes, of course you do.
Where are you linking it? You link it in the chat here. You send it in Discord.
I think anyone with pets knows how this goes. We have more pictures of our pets on our phone than we do our family members.
Of course we do.
So I was just kind of looking through these pictures and just kind of laughing that of all the pictures I take, this is not how having the cat actually really is. So like this right
this
here.
is the ideal scenario of cat. This is it's super cute. Not the rest of the picture.
Here we go.
Named Ravage. Oh, that's awesome. His twins, Billy and Jimmy. That's dope.
So I just dropped the picture in the
life in this
Discord.
old survivor. Awesome, man. Because family members aren't cute. Oh my God, I love it. Where are you linking this at, man?
I just dropped it in your the Discord.
There it is. Okay, all right. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, we'll spend a lot of time on this.
Aw. She's so cute when she's unconscious.
Yeah, but I mean that's not what it's
She's
like. It's not like that.
No, it is not. I promise you it's not.
Well, it is at noon. It's not at 3 in the morning.
It's that way for all of 5 minutes while she's asleep. No, like midnight to like 4 a.m. It's like a living nightmare. She
It's more like the last picture I just dropped.
Oh, okay. We got another here. Hang on. Oh, okay. Hold on. I should just pull all these up. Hang on. We'll just start doing it this way. I'm going to line these up because this may take a minute.
Yeah,
he has like all the pictures.
My cat.
2 of these look like the same.
Yeah, I accidentally sent it twice.
Okay. Okay, here we go. That's super sweet.
Yeah, so she likes me.
And then just kind of looking.
That's what it's like. She's wanting to get into the guinea pig cage and get into the pigloo, and she's on the cage. She's chewing on
kill.
So, all right. There, I got that out of my system.
Murder, death, cat. You haven't got that out of your system. There's no getting that out of your system, sir. You're not getting that out of your system.
So.
Everyone is now in love with your cat.
Yep.
She's so cute when she's unconscious, as every parent about their children.
It was supposed to be my wife's cat. It's supposed to be my cat's cat, but I think she's kind of adopted me, so it might be my cat now. I don't know.
Look at those 60 legs holding the cat. Petting games or cat thing games? Who knows? What's up, heavyweights? You used to have a guinea pig, I think, right, man?
I have a couple guinea pigs. That's what she's been. She likes to watch the guinea pig show.
Guinea pig show.
That's not why she's watching the guinea pig.
It's not. It's not.
Dude, they were. I want her to try to do something with the guinea pigs because they are actually bigger than she is. So that would be kind of funny to see.
I don't know if you want that.
I think they'll just chest bump her right out of the cage or do that head slinging thing they do.
So we do have a topic tonight. We will eventually get there.
Yes, at some point.
My wife did name the cat Samus, though, so pretty close.
Samurai pizza. Now it would kind of need that now. I feel like that needs to be a thing now.
Samurai pizza cats.
So I don't know where you guys want to start with this. If you just go to favorites, or if you want to go like what you played earliest chronologically, what were your I don't know how we want to do this. We've already got a couple of them coming out. Darkstalkers has Felicia. That's true. Segun. Yep. I have dogs now. I used to have 3 cats along with my 2 dogs, and all my cats have since passed on. Ooh. So I'm down to dogs now.
I have 2 cats.
I kind of want a kitten again. I want another cat.
Do it.
Name the cat. Make a cat 1. Hey, Brian.
Actually, there was that cat that was actually in the Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. Tango. Could have named her that.
But then I don't think I've played Mega Man 5. There's a lot of the core Mega Man games. I think I've only really messed with I've messed with a few of them here and there, but not for very long. The ones I played the most were Mega Man 1 and 2. And then I think I got about an hour or 2 until 11. I was kind of struggling with 11, and it wasn't grabbing me right off.
It grabbed me right off, but man, I really struggled with that one too. And I put it on. I'm fairly decent at Mega Man games. That is just kind of devilishly designed, I think.
What's up, games? It needs that gear. You really have to learn how to use those gears really effectively.
The stages are long, and it's like every screen has a new mechanic, a new trap that's just rapid fire. There's not really a whole lot of downtime in that game. So I think I probably spent, and I was getting pretty pissed off too. I think I probably spent 2 or 3 hours not even seeing at least half the bosses, and certainly never beating any. But then it seems like with the Mega Man cycle, once you defeat one boss, then they all just kind of fall like dominoes after that. But
yeah, I think I beat the one that drops like the bricks and stuff like that, like Brickman or something like that. I
Yeah,
think I managed to beat him.
Brickman or Blockman was the demo.
What's up, Crimson?
Level. So I think that was Capcom saying, start with this guy.
Yeah, I think he literally was like, he's the hey, give me kind of fight that you get in every single one of those. It's just finding it, right? Because you have to figure out the stage first. So you have to find the stage that's the most approachable, and then the boss that's the most approachable. And they don't always sync quite as well. No, we're trying to talk fighting games, but we kind of got like off on a tangent about cats, and it rolled into Mega Man somehow. That wasn't the end goal of the stream. My thumbnail's all wrong for that. Although we could easily do that. That's not a bad one to do. So now we got people talking Mega Man. Mega Man?
Yeah, there was, two fighting games.
Mega Man's been in a bunch of fighting games. I didn't know he had his own fighting game.
Japan only. I think it's only in Japan. Although they came out here on compilations.
Yeah, there was one on Game Boy too called like Fighting Advance or something, or Battle or something stupid.
I haven't really played a whole lot of Killer Instinct on the Game Boy, but that is the fighting game that I probably played the most in general. So
I really like Killer Instinct, but then one of my favorite things that came out of fighting games came out, I want to say, after Street Fighter 2, or as an accidental note in Street Fighter 2, which was combos. So it's always kind of fun to like go into like training mode and figure out what connects where, what you can do, and how you can chain things together. That's I consider that some of the most fun parts that I have with fighting games. I'm terrible at them online. Executing anything in a real fight, I'm atrocious at. But Mega Man: The Power Battle. Okay,
there's Power Battle 1 and 2, and to my knowledge, they were both on the Anniversary Collection for the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube.
Really?
I don't.
Okay. I've only beaten like one, I think. No, I've beaten. Well, if you count Powered Up, I've beaten 2 of the regular Mega Man games. I've beaten 4 of the Mega Man X games.
What's up, CM Metro?
Hey, CM.
I don't think we're talking Battle Chip Challenge.
Old school Mega Man games.
Oh, really? You actually saw an arcade cabinet? That's dope. What's up, CM Retro? Good to see you, man. Yeah, Killer Instinct pretty much took the combo system and ran with it full bore. That is still probably one of my most beloved fighting game franchises. I love the newest one. Even though it's so complicated, it's almost pretty much put me out the pasture on the franchise. Because every new character has their own, not only their own move sets that will link in similar ways, but have different ranges and different everything, kind of like Street Fighter does with everything, and now Mortal Kombat. They also had certain things that their instinct would do. They also had specific character traits that gave them specific abilities you had to watch out for. And it made for a very approachable but very complicated game to learn. I've never messed with K on the Game Boy. I usually stayed away from like Game Boy fighting games.
Yeah. Try playing Mortal Kombat on a Game Boy.
I played it on a Game Gear. I had a blast with it on a Game Gear, oddly.
Well, the Game Gear at least has another button on it.
The Game Gear only really used 2 buttons for that.
Shots fired, Nick.
Did it really? Because I know the Game Boy used 2 buttons, and that was atrocious.
Oh, damn. Shots fired.
Push back, Nick. Push back.
You know what, man? I beat all those bosses like 5 times in a row and didn't really take any damage. I just did not want to deal with them for like another 2 hours to finally beat the boss. So there. Yeah.
I'd say it counts.
Now, Batman, I probably need to revisit that.
I know you weren't satisfied with that victory, especially, so.
I wasn't super happy with X4, but I was far more disappointed with Batman. Batman, I definitely need to get back to the tower to fight the Joker straight up on that one. So I need to go through that one again because I don't know if I've got that save state ready or not. So, Best in K Hero Tech Team. Oh, Oh yeah, that's the SNK heroine thing on the Switch. They took a bunch of the SNK characters and took some of them that were like male characters and made them female characters, and made a fighting game out of it. It looked kind of fun, but it looked very fan servicey. By the way, I have to stop and go, Jim. Okay, we can carry on now.
Yeah, I've already said hi to Jim like 5 minutes
I
ago.
know
You're
he's
late.
been in here and I've been putting chats, but I haven't stopped to like scream his name, which I need to. Yeah, see, the Master System Mortal Kombat was very close to the Game Gear Mortal Kombat. You only really used 2 buttons for it. It worked. I played it a ton because it was the only way I had to play Mortal Kombat handheld on the go. And I had a lot of fun with it. Going back and trying to play it now is very frustrating because of the 2-button system. But it sort of works. It works. Oh, God, Primal Rage is so frustrating to me.
It was bad. That was not a great game.
I struggle with it because of how weirdly shaped all the fighters are. Some work for me, others don't. I just struggled to get used to it.
Talon is probably, I don't know. She's who I had the most luck with. But I've always been fascinated by stop motion animation. So that game was, when it came out, I mean, that was like right up my alley. So I rented it on the Genesis. I did not have fun with it at all. But it's more fun to watch the arcade run its animations and stuff. But as far as like fighting in the special moves, yeah, good luck pulling any of those off. I think
some of the special moves
said something where
frustrating.
it's basically a cheat code trying to pull out some of these moves. So,
see, I think the first fighting game I ever played in the arcade was probably Street Fighter 2. I seem to remember that being one of the first ones I found in the arcade. It was either that or the original Mortal Kombat. And I remember the original Mortal Kombat being a big draw to me one summer because I was working back in groceries. I was back in groceries at a grocery store. So I always had money on hand. I always had gas money to go to like the pool hall and shoot pool. And at the pool hall I used to like to go to just play around, they had a Mortal Kombat machine. And so I dumped tons of my money into that machine.
I'm trying to remember the first game so we have to quantify what makes a fighting game, because if you
are you gonna throw in like are we gonna do the whole like Power Stone Smash kind of thing in there?
No, I'm gonna start with Karate Champ, which
that's still a 1v1 kind of fighter thing. So yeah, I'd say that probably counts.
It's not only that, but with the 2 joystick controls, it had at least, it had a bevy of moves. You figure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 8. It had probably 64 moves that you could do. And there was strategy to it too, because you could block.
The Bootylicious Ninja, she really is, man.
Yeah.
I just picked up the new SNK game. I haven't gotten enough time on it. I'm behind on it, man. I picked up the new Guilty Gear, and I barely touched that one. I barely touched the SNK one. Beat 'em ups I don't count as fighting games. I count those as beat 'em ups. They have their own genre.
Yeah.
I know that was the original kind of fighting game because those came out before fighting game for tournament fighters.
Yeah.
But I don't really classify those into fighters as we understand them now. They have their genre, and I love that genre. That's just not it's not what I'm classifying as a fighting game tonight.
I agree with that. That is more of a platform beat 'em up.
You did have Beautiful Joe on the thumbnail though.
Beautiful Joe was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That's why he's on there.
Okay. And
Strider's been in multiple Marvel vs. Capcom games, which is why he stayed on there as well.
Yeah, so Zombie is correct. There was a game called it was called Heavyweight Champs. That was one of the first, I wouldn't say the first fighting game, because there were so many others that I mean, well, in the arcade, there are games like Barbarian on the computer. There were I mean, Best of the Best, which was a kickboxing game that I had on. It eventually came out for like the NES and Genesis, but I had it on the PC. Budokan from EA. I mean, there's a ton of.
See, Budokan, that Dragon Ball series, I still consider that a fighter.
No. Budokan. No. I'm not talking about Budokan from Dragon Ball Z. I'm talking about.
Okay,
EA,
different one. Okay.
EA made a game called Budokan. It came out on PC, but also came out on NES. May not have been NES, but it definitely came out on Genesis. Marvel
Superheroes versus Street Fighter is amazing. Marvel versus Capcom 1 is actually all the Marvel versus and I even like Infinite. Infinite's really good. You just have to get used to its weirdness. It's not the favorite among many, and not even a favorite among myself, but it's still pretty freaking good.
Yeah, I don't like the character designs in Infinite.
Yeah, the models aren't as good. They sort of took a step back. They tried to go a little bit closer to what they've been doing in Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. And while those are good games, I don't like that art style. I've never cared for that art style. And they kind of tried to muddle it with what they did with 3 and Infinite, and it didn't work on either level. So it was kind of a bit of a mess. But the gameplay's really tight. I mean, they did a really good job with the gameplay. The soundtrack's good. They do a lot of cool stuff with it. I didn't like that they brought it down to 2 fighters, but you had the Infinity Stones again, so that kind of made up for it a little, but not really.
And also, it doesn't really seem like it's as
I'd forgotten about that one, Jim.
It doesn't seem like it's really fast either.
It's quicker than you think. Like when you're playing it, it's faster than you think, but they've slowed down a lot of fighting
Marvel
games.
vs. Capcom 3, where the matches are over in seconds, and it seems like it doesn't run as. I don't mean like programming wise. I think it's just not designed to be quite as blazing fast as the older.
I think everybody did that intentionally because there was a big push recently to slow everything down a little bit. And that was done for competitive play. And I don't know if that was done for the viewers' benefit so they could see what was going on, or if it was just to make it more tactical for the competitors so you wouldn't just very quickly and you're caught in something and it's over kind of thing, to make it a little bit more even competitive-wise. But Mortal Kombat 11 did that, because if you ever played Mortal Kombat 10, it's very fast. Like very, very fast. And very technical.
It is.
And if you go to 11, you cut that speed by less than half.
Hector, what's up?
Like it's over half.
Hey, Hector.
It's like 50% speed or like 45% speed. So it's kind of like going from like Street Fighter 2 Turbo fighting back to Street Fighter 2. Right? So instead of moving the speed up, they moved the speed down. And they did that specifically for esports.
Like right around the time that I was like for maybe a tour, probably about a 2-year period while I was playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and also Infinite.
Tattoo Assassins. I don't even remember that one.
The glue that kind of bound all those was my wife and I were also playing Injustice, which
Injustice is a neat series. It's a little weird, but it's good.
More slower paced fighter. It's not built the same way. So I thought that Infinite was a touch more like that than.
I couldn't get into Punch Out. That's not really a fighting game.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it a fighting game.
But curse you, sir.
I mean, but why not?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Why isn't Punch Out a fighting game?
I consider it more
of
a puzzle game than a fighter.
What?
Because realistically, it's more of a timing and figuring out when you have to hit, like where to hit, so you can get an opening so you can hit things. And you also can't do it competitively. So you can't fight another person with it.
Okay, all right. That I can grant you. That I can grant you. Yeah,
But I
don't know, though.
I always looked at Punch Out as more, almost as much of a puzzle game as a boxing game, and I think that's why I liked it, as opposed to many of the other boxing games that were out there that were probably arguably better boxing games.
Yeah, Punch Out is a pretty terrible boxing game if you look at it that way. So.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Injustice 2 is pretty cool. I haven't given that one enough time. I played a lot of Injustice 1, not as much of 2. I bought 2 when I got a deal on it on Steam, and it had like all the characters, including all the turtles and everything like that, and I just never really dumped as much time into as I should. I've got so many of these fighting games, and I just don't play them as much as I should. There's a lot of really good ones. Bushido Blade I never really got into. Kind of like
I didn't either.
Kind of like a Samurai Showdown. I didn't get to as much, particularly the new one, because there's too many like one-hit kills in that. And while that's great from a technical aspect, it's also very frustrating for newcomers. And I'm very new to some of those series, so I never really dumped the time into them because I knew I would just get like I can already get frustrated trying to learn fighting games anyway because they're very punishing, particularly if you play them online. But that one seems particularly brutal. And Bushido Blade's in that same vein. So that's kind of why I lumped the two together.
Pit Fighter. That's actually one of the first fighting games I probably played.
Yeah, you say just kidding, Scepter, but technically it's a fighting game. I played the hell out of that in the arcade.
Yeah.
GoGameGo goes with me on Punch Out. It's more puzzle than fighter.
Jeff.
It's sort of a boxing game. It's sort of not a boxing game. It's kind of its own thing, and I love it for that. I absolutely love it for what it is. But it's almost kind of its own thing. It doesn't really fit any one genre.
Okay. Well, I guess, so what would you call the wrestling games that were out? Were they fighting games?
See, those are sort of fighting games, but I don't like classifying them as fighting games. I like putting them in their own genre of wrestling games. And the reason is because I consider wrestling games in many ways kind of bullshit. Because you usually have a stamina meter of some sort that sort of always works against the player, but never works against the CPU. Pins sort of happen, but they never really seem to happen when you're trying to get them to happen. You'll get down in a 3 count in like 2 seconds, but you can never seem to pin the other person. Figuring out the moves is clunky and awkward in most times. I always struggle trying to figure out the mechanics on any and all wrestling games, and just I always wanted to have fun with him because he looked like something I should have fun with, but I just really struggled to get into them. All of them.
Yeah, it's like I can pretty much put in any fighting game and get someplace just by mashing the buttons frantically, and sometimes even look good doing it. With a wrestling game, the controls are totally different, and I've never been able to do anything with a wrestling game other than power the game on and occasionally get the character like to walk in the direction I want him to, but they also don't appeal to me at all. So I haven't had that patience to actually sit down and put more than 5 minutes into them. So, and
I think that's my struggle too. Is I get into them, the controls feel really awkward for me every time I mess with one. And
I want them to play like a fighting
Zombie
game.
thinks we ought to just make a Punch Out a fighter. Like Zombie has been a huge advocate for this tonight. So much so I think he's actually getting annoyed with this.
I think Zombie's trying to fight you.
I think he'll probably win. I haven't played the Rocky Super Action Boxing on ColecoVision. No,
I did. I played it. It was pretty good. I wouldn't call that a fighting game though. It was a boxing game. If we're not going to call Punch Out a fighting game, we can't call that one a fighting game. Just like we can't call Ring King a fighting game either.
See, I see again. It kind of like beat 'em up. I put wrestling games in their own category. There's so many of them that they're almost their own category.
Yeah, I would say I think they've earned their own genre.
Yeah, that's kind of like I don't put Smash into fighting games. I put them more into like brawlers.
Really,
like Power Stone almost fits into that category. And there's so many games like Smash coming out now like the Nickelodeon one.
Well,
There's that new Multiverse one. There's the Brawlhalla that's out. There's like a retro.
Sony tried to make one.
Yeah, Sony made a PlayStation
All-Stars.
All-Stars one, which I thought was really good. I really enjoyed that one. There's a retro-focused one on my Evercade cart called like a Retro Super Brawlers or something like that. That's based off the same kind of concept.
Also, there was a Japan only. I think it was Jump Superstars. Was basically there was a lot more to it than this, but I mean it was basically a Shonen Jump Smash Brothers game series.
Yeah, so go back to that. Big Block. Hey, Big Block. Yeah. So Karateka and Bruce Lee are both platformers to me. They're not fighting games because those are kind of like the precursors. Honestly, those are the precursors to games, because I put that in the same genre as like Kung Fu Master, where those were the pre beat 'em ups, right? The first real beat 'em ups where they were almost like a horde mode of that, because you could also add games like Kicker,
Kung Fu on the NES.
This is going to turn into our overworld game debate, where every game is an open world
They
game.
love it when we do that. That's why they're pushing it that way.
That's why they know us.
Pac-Man is a fighting game.
Agree what a fighting game is.
They know us.
But the chat wants us to argue about this for like an hour.
Yes,
that's exactly what they want to do. I know what they're doing.
They
know you guys.
They know us now. They know who we are. No, so did either of you guys actually, since we've brought up Street Fighter 2 several times, did you actually play Street Fighter 1?
I played it once.
I have it on the 30th anniversary collection, and I don't even want to look at it. I have heard nothing but absolute terror stories about this game.
It's horrific.
I actually went to a bowling alley one time where they actually had a Street Fighter 1 cabinet, and I did play it for a little bit, which makes it funny for anyone who's, I guess, in their mid 30s to 40s. The movie
Pac-Man is survival horror.
The movie It, where the one of the kids was obsessed with Street Fighter.
I love her
1.
chat.
I don't remember.
Y'all know that's not how it went down. So
yeah, I think everybody loaded the controls for Street Fighter 1. I've heard, like, if you got a fireball off in that game, it was like a freaking miracle. Like, you would never repeat it. Until they came out with 2. And 2 was really, like, where tournament fighters took off. Because for 1, you had 8 fighters, not 2. The controls worked, and those have basically been almost the blueprint for controls for executing specials.
Yeah.
And almost every game since then, almost every game copies those to some extent, with the exception of 3D fighters like Tekken and Virtual Fighter and stuff like that. That's probably true for one in the arcade. It was awful.
Yeah. So as a not in the same vein as Karate Champ, but there was a game that came out. I don't know if it was shortly after, but this is definitely a fighting game. Definitely one that I was that I played a lot of and was hoping to find a really good, like I can emulate it, the arcade version. Ye Are Kung Fu by Konami.
That.
Yeah, did he?
You've been wanting to talk about that for a while. You bring that up a lot.
Ye Are was
I've not heard of this one. And Rival Schools is cool. I never messed with it much, but that's a really cool series. That one needs to come back. Like that and Darkstalkers both need to come back. I'm frustrated those have not come back.
You haven't played ER before, Nick?
I don't think so. I don't think I touched a fighting game until the Super NES, unless it was in the arcade.
It was,
and then it was a Street Fighter 2 series, and I was pretty well hooked. I didn't play any of them on the NES.
This is an old school Konami game. This came up during our Konami versus Capcom.
Yes, it did.
Debate.
Okay, ER introduced energy bars or light bars or whatever you want to call them.
Yes, they had so each side had a bar that went into the middle towards KO. Hey, Tugs, what's up, man? It's been a minute.
Doug's just struggling to get one word typed. He's having a rough night.
So I finally have gotten a chance to thank you. I finally gotten a chance to talk about it.
Hold on, I'm gonna look this up now. I'm gonna look this up on YouTube. Hopefully nobody will copyright strike me.
No, here.
They did eventually get around to copyright striking my my stream where I had like Crazy Taxi going on.
Oh, but right, because anytime you throw down that music,
yeah, they got me for copyrighted music, and I'm like, I can't even really argue this. Other than the fact that I was playing a video game that had it in there, and that's not really my fault.
I know that is nonsense. That should never be a thing.
It shouldn't, but it is.
I know, but it should never be a thing.
All right, we're gonna go to World of Long Plays. I'm sorry, World of Long Plays. I'm using your stuff. I've used your stuff for years. I love your work. I'm using it to show something. Don't sue me, bro. I never got claimed by them. I think they know exactly what they're building for. They could stop showing me like 9 ads. That would be dope.
No, you must have ads.
I know. You guys are killing me. Stop showing me Luna. All right, here we go. All right.
Luna. The sad part is now if there are multiple ads, now it only now that's what the hell version is that?
I don't know. This is year.
That is not what I.
That's the NES version.
Is it?
That's the NES version.
Oh, yuck. Oh
yeah, NES.
That is not what I. Hang on a second. Let me.
Did you play as Wang, Mike?
I'm turning the volume way down on this so they can hear us.
Hang on. Why did that? Okay, that's weird.
Specifically arcade.
It was
no. That's weird.
What game did I play?
No, it's the exact. I'm looking at the link, and it's the exact link I just copied in, and it says "Yar Kung Fu Arcade." All right, hang on. Let me try the. Let's
maybe
try
it just doesn't look as good as you.
Let's try the long link. Here, it's in the private chat. Let's try that one.
Let me try this one. Hang on.
That is bizarre.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. I mean, it looks. I've seen this before. This looks a little bit better. I don't think I ever played this, but I have seen this before.
It's interesting in that it only has 2 or 3 buttons. So it's not a 6 button. You just
criticized other fighters for doing that, but they weren't interesting. They were bad.
No, I criticized Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy for attempting to do a 4-button game with 2 buttons.
Now, would you criticize all the fighters on the Neo Geo Pocket? Because they kind of made the limited button scheme work.
Yes, I would.
Oh wow! Okay.
I do like that character, but he's probably going to get pulled and never exist again. There's been this is actually kind of topical because there has been a big push by the Bruce Lee estate to pull all characters that have any resemblance to Bruce Lee pretty much out of all the games he's in because they want it done in what they said, quote unquote, a tasteful manner.
Yeah, they were really pissed about the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so I think everyone's paying for it.
Oh yeah,
his estate. Yeah.
So one of the things that they're probably going to lose is you're probably going to lose Lee out of Tekken. You're definitely losing Fei Long out of Street Fighter. He's gone. That's already confirmed.
They've already announced that.
They've already confirmed that he'll never pop up in another game again. I love that character. He's not the best character, but I had a lot of fun with him. So that's really disappointing.
I like his theme.
Yeah. And I thought Fei Long was actually a really respectful interpretation of that character.
But they made up that character right for the Street Fighter 2 movie, and then they just started putting him in the games, right? Is that?
All right.
I don't know. He was in the Street Fighter 2 New Challengers is where I first ran into him. I don't know if they came out before or after the movie, but that was his first appearance for me.
I bet someone in our chat knows.
So
We'll just wait.
Just so you guys are
Martial and
aware,
Force Law.
I was just looking this up, but Shannon Lee runs Bruce Lee's Twitter account, his daughter, and she said that they have not made any comments about Fei Long.
They haven't, because I thought I saw an article pop up that said he was going to be pulled.
Yeah, here we go. It says, we've never made any comments of this nature. We have no idea who Daniel Lindholm says his close friends of the family are, but his comments are entirely false surrounding the Bruce Lee family. So now,
okay, so he was in Super Street Fighter verse.
Right. Capcom may still pull the character, but not because of the Bruce Lee estate.
I wouldn't pull the character personally unless he just doesn't fit in your next roster.
Well,
I mean, they sometimes don't include certain characters, like Mortal Kombat will do that deliberately.
Yeah,
so
Street
that they
Fighter
don't
5 didn't
so they don't oversaturate
the
their entire character base, but you always have certain staples in there, like you always have Scorpion and Sub-Zero, because people would freaking riot if you didn't have them, right? But if they started going after characters like that, then that starts bringing up characters like, freaking. Why am I drawing a blank? Mortal Kombat.
I know who you're talking about.
Liu Kang.
Yeah.
That makes Liu Kang sketchy, right?
Does it though?
He's got that same kind of like Bruce Lee kind of bounce back and forth vibe. If you look at him in Mortal Kombat 1, he's got that same kind of stance, that same kind of movement a little bit. It's a similar style. But I mean, it's a very predominant style. Jeet Kune Do is a legitimate martial arts style that Bruce Lee made. So, I mean, what do you do there, right? You don't have anybody that uses Jeet Kune Do in a fighting game ever? Anything close to that? That's kind of silly.
Well, that would be anything having wushu or most kung fu arts, because that's what the only person you can model anything after would be what's his name from Virtua Fighter 2?
Super Street Fighter 2 was 93 and the film was in 94, so and Fei Long popped up in Super Street Fighter first, so yeah, he popped up he was there before he was in the movie one, so he was in a canon character. Yeah, Liu Kang's been killed like multiple times, but he keeps coming back. So, and the last one, spoiler alert, he turned into a deity. So yeah, I don't know where they're going to go from there.
Well, they're just gonna. They're gonna. Kung Lao is who kind of took the mantle there of that. Because even in the new movie, he wasn't. Kung Lao was kind of the.
Kung Lao had a bit more personality, but they I don't know. I'm waiting for them to do. I'm waiting for that next Mortal Kombat movie.
I'm not.
I think this was if they make the second one what everybody thought this one was going to be, the first one would be perceived better, I think. Does that mean Kill Bill's going to get pulled because she wore a yellow tracksuit? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, that's sketchy, and they're still waiting to do that third one. I think that's he was waiting for all the actors to hit the right age. Oh, okay, so he's in an animated film that came out that same year. I'm hoping they don't pull most of those characters. Like the one, Martial Law would be the one I could think of them being the most offended by, because Law, while a really good character to play, if you know how to play him, is such a slapstick character that they'd almost have to go to the fence of saying, well, we really modeled it after Jackie Chan rather than Bruce Lee to try to get away with it. And I don't think they'd be able to sell it.
Well,
I don't think they'd be able to sell it.
And I don't think Jackie Chan would care one way or another.
No, Jackie Chan wouldn't care. But Jackie Chan...
He's given his likeness to so many other...
He really has. But Jackie Chan has really gone on record as saying, look, I can compete with Bruce Lee and I was doing movies at the same time as Bruce Lee, so I had to differentiate myself
He was in
with a similar style. Whereas Bruce Lee would punch through something and be like, "Whoa!" and just be all tough.
Well-
He'd hit it and go, "Ah!" you
know that Jackie Chan was in a Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've acted together, and
we're talking about Mortal Kombat now, though. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I was just
Savage.
I was making sure you knew. Hey, Savage. I was making sure you knew. He was the guy that in oh, come on, not Fist of Fury. Which I forgot which the name of the movie was. There was.
Jackie Chan is an incredibly talented, not only martial artist, but stunts person.
Hang on. Which movie was it?
Rumble in the Bronx.
No.
That's probably Jackie Chan's most well-known movie in the States.
No, he was in. Not and. Damn it. So
that movie with Chris Tucker.
Yeah. No,
see, I would have loved to have seen them work together more. I think they could have played off to each other really well. Kind of sad.
Maybe it was Fist of Fury. You know what? Maybe it was Fist of Fury. At the end of Fist of Fury, when he's fighting the boss, he kicks the boss out of his hut, his house, through the rice paper thing. The guy who flies through the rice paper out to the courtyard, that's Jackie Chan. He did that stunt.
That doesn't surprise me. Jackie was really well known for being able to take a hit.
Oh,
He broke every bone in his body.
Yeah, he's broken every bone in his body at least once.
And he's shown it at the end of every movie.
Yep.
So,
and he doesn't look all banged up either. Like he actually looks. I mean, last time I saw him, he doesn't look like someone who's literally been smashed for the past. 30,
I know.
No. Although you don't know if I don't know if that was his. Oh my goodness.
We've been so all over the board in this stream.
We have.
We have not been focused on this. We were gonna do like fighters. There's been a tons of good fighters mentioned, like Bloody Roar, which is a really cool series. Fist of Fury, I don't remember much of it. I remember playing about it. No one's getting acknowledged for the story. I don't really know Bruce Leroy. Victor Lee's based on Jackie Chan.
Oh, Bruce Leroy, yes. Yes. Oh my God. So no one has. You guys. All right. You have a whole.
I was waiting for you to bring him up.
Oh well, because
yeah, we were waiting on you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Bruce Leroy was.
It's all your fault.
I'm sorry. He was the main character in a fantastic 80s kung fu kind of, I don't want to say comedy movie, but it was kind of a comedy. The Last Dragon. You know, who's the master? Show enough. You guys don't come on. Oh my God.
Bruce Leroy Jenkins.
It was a great movie. That was a great movie. If you get a chance to see The Last Dragon, watch that. It is.
I feel like we've just talked about random things tonight. This was not our focused comeback stream that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest.
It's okay.
I think half the chat would rather talk about something else other than fighting games. It's a
everybody
kind
of talked about it, and this was the topic that everybody kind of wanted to talk about. So this is kind of what we brought up this week. I mentioned it, and you guys were like, "Yeah, let's do that." And I'm like, "All right, fine, we'll do this one."
I'm gonna reel us back in. My favorite fighting series is Virtua Fighter, hands down.
I knew you were going to come up with that.
Number one.
That's one of my least favorite fighting series.
Well, everybody has their cross to bear, Nick.
Yeah.
It's
what is yours?
Virtua Fighter? Sadly,
Virtua
Fighter.
Oh, yeah. Well, that. Okay.
Virtua Fighter 2 stands as kind of the godfather of. The godfather of 3D. Well, first off, Virtua Fighter started the 3-dimensional fighting game genre. Let's get that out of the way.
And I don't think we were ready for 3D fighters at the time because Virtua Fighter 1 is a terrible game.
What?
That's a terrible game.
You just shut your
He
mouth.
says
sir.
Virtua Fighter is a terrible game.
And
Virtua Fighter 1 is a terrible game.
And I'm sorry, something happened to my headset because that sounded.
It's a terrible game.
I don't think he likes
are
Virtua
incorrect. It's fine. He can be incorrect.
Now, Virtua Fighter series has gotten better. It's never been as good as the Tekken series as far as tight controls.
Look.
It's definitely
He
not
says
as good
Tekken
as
is
definitely
better.
not as good as DOA.
You just shut your
Virtua Fighter 1 had people jumping 40 feet in the air and then taking 40 seconds to land. The match was fucking over by the time you did one move sometimes. It was clunky with the ring outs. It
was not.
It looked super bad graphically, like it was abysmal. It wasn't even Daytona good. I was shocked they continued into 3D fighters at that time. I think Tekken is the one that really kind of started popularizing the genre. You what?
It's weird that no one has brought up Soul Calibur, especially you, Nick.
Soul Calibur is amazing.
Soul Calibur is amazing. Soul Calibur is amazing. But
I'd find you guys some common ground.
Soul Calibur is often like Dreamcast land. So yeah, Virtua Fighter 2. Well,
Dead or Alive is actually, if you get past like the jiggly physics, is a very technical and solid fighter.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on in there through simple controls that work and work really well. But you have to get past the boobies to get into the meat of that game.
I don't know if I can get past that.
If you can't get past that, you can't get past that. That's okay. If you just want to bump up the jiggle physics and have fun, then that's on you. I mean, I would maybe recommend the DOA Extreme series for you as opposed to the actual core fighting game series.
I'm Googling right now. Don't worry.
There you go. That's fine. Most of the Soul Caliburs are pretty freaking good. 6 is really good. 1 and 2 were amazing. I think 3 was really solid. I want to say 4 was a little spotty. Might have been 5. I can't remember. Why would you get past the jiggle physics?
What are you even talking about, Nick? Get past the boob. You stop there.
That's fair. Tekken's probably the most well-known series, but I find its 3-dimensional physics a little for my taste.
And I think
that's one of the reasons I liked Soul Calibur and DOA better. It was easier to move through the 3D space, I felt like. Tekken's tap system works, but I find it kind of annoying.
Tekken had no strategy. It was...
That's why my sister was really good at it, because she would just button mash better than
zero.
I dare any of you to do that against someone who actually knows how to play Tekken. It wouldn't be me. I would get stomped. But I have seen people are scary in Tekken, dude. Tekken can be freaking terrifying to go against people online.
I have had no trouble.
Is there where I can buy different bikinis? In DOA, of course there is. There always is. And schoolgirl outfits and bunny maid outfits and any other loot thing you want to buy. Total cash price last time I looked was right around $1,200 for all the outfits and characters. The original was called Soul Edge. You're absolutely correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah,
I would.
I didn't like Akira in Virtua Fighter either.
No,
I better than I did some of the others.
Yeah,
Akira here's my problem with Virtua Fighter. Even in 5, which I played a little bit because I've got it on my PlayStation, it feels clunky. Like it doesn't move the way I want a fighter to move. Like Soul Calibur feels fluid. DOA feels fluid. Tekken, once you start learning the combos, feels pretty fluid. The 3-dimensional movement's a little spotty, but it feels fairly fluid. Virtua Fighter always feels like, unless you know these like 3-button inputs and all this other weird shit, your character goes, ugh. That's it? That's my move?
No, I don't know how that's happened for you. I'm not sure what you're doing wrong, but pulling off
playing
combos
Virtua Fighter, that's what I'm doing wrong.
You're not doing it right, because pulling off combos in Virtua Fighter is so much freaking easier than pulling them off in Tekken. And on top of that, you really have to block in Virtua Fighter, and you really don't have to block in Tekken. You just have to mash buttons faster than the other person. I have beaten people online in Tekken by mashing buttons faster than them, and then I get.
But you can
nasty
always beat
messages.
somebody by button mashing. You can do that in Mortal Kombat. You can do that in Street Fighter. I mean, you can win to a certain extent with that. Once you start running into people that actually understand the system and how to get past that kind of cheese, you'll get wrecked super quick. Like, try to take that into, like, say, Killer Instinct. Go into the Shadow mode on the new Killer Instinct and try fighting any one of those fighters with a button mash technique. You will be destroyed in seconds. I know, I've tried it, even knowing some of the moves. Like, those Shadow fighters are where people have gone through and they've worked on, like, their Shadow clone and just done fight after fight after fight after fight. So those fights get nasty fast. And those are the kind of people you'll run into online with a lot of these. You'll run into new people occasionally that obviously don't know what they're doing or don't know what they're doing in an actual competitive fight like me.
Zombie, I want to know how you
What's up, James?
Play with Akira. Because I'll grant you Akira is not well made, but I mean,
no, Akira's well made. He's just super technical and hard to use. He's got a moveset that looks like it should all connect really well, but I can't get it to do it.
Now, see, if you, I mean, guys, characters, there are some characters.
What's up, Mikey J?
And even if
see, Sifu's more of a beat 'em up to me because it's just you.
Yeah, I call
it's a really good beat. It's a really good looking beat 'em up. I want to pick it up.
Yeah,
Eugene, what's up?
I consider
Eugene's in the house. Awesome, man.
See, I would consider that a
Rocking Jay's in here too. That's awesome. James Gippy's in here. It's always good to see you, man.
Good people.
Yep, tons of good people in here tonight.
No, yeah, Sifu is a 3D beat 'em up. Honestly, it's not a fighting game. Although I mean, like some
it looks like a dope game. It's one of those I want to get into at some point.
It is. It's very great. I've got to go back and play. There's been an update with some content. There's a spot that I'm stuck at. I might have to back down the difficulty a little bit. But
see, we haven't even talked about some of the obscure fighting games yet. We haven't gotten into Skullgirls. We haven't gotten into Them's Fighting Herds.
Yeah.
Which Them's Fighting Herds is such a weird game. Have any of you guys ever heard of that one?
No. It sounds weird.
I'm gonna look this up.
Too weird for me.
This is such a strange game. Hold on. Let's see if I can find just gameplay. I would tell you what it is, but it's just... Yeah, here we go. World on One Place. It'll take like 30 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. It's more ads.
Oh, good. And now with the ads, if you click skip ad, it'll still play the second.
Oh, yeah.
ad.
It takes them to another ad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They got around that. They got around that nonsense.
That's good times. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're into it. Here we go. This is such a weird but fun fighting game.
What in the hell?
They made My Little Pony a fighting game. And it's actually really fun and crazy technical. It's quite amazing. I was kind of impressed and shocked at the same time that they made My Little Pony violent, like super violent. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is. Oh my!
Because I'm furry. It's still better than Twitch ads.
This is
Clay Fighter was kind of goofy.
Clay Fighter.
Yeah, Clay Fighter, but I would call Clay Fighter definitely a fighting game.
Rise of the
Rise of the Robots. Oh,
I don't remember Rise of the Robots. I did play a decent amount of Clay Fighter. I played a lot of Primal Rage for it not being my favorite fighting game. I played a lot of it. No, not My Little Pony. Hey, but they're violent and they're beating up on each other, and one summons like demons and stuff. So it went weird. They went all in on the weird.
That's very weird.
It's actually quite a lot of fun.
She doesn't have to watch the ads, and like defeats the purpose for me. So
more like Pooh Fighter. Street Fighter 2 Turbo is actually a really, really good game. I liked New Challengers because you still got some of that speed from Turbo that you wanted. You still got to play like all the bosses, but you got like 4 new characters. I don't know if Adblock works on there. Technomancer I got. I actually got that downloaded for Dreamcast. I went out and I bought that like day one, and that's a tough game, man. Technomancer is tough. It's a fun game, but man, that is a tough fighting game. That one's kind of a struggle.
There's a Genesis fighting game that I really wish would have gotten better flushed out and better support, and that is Eternal Champions.
I never got into that series, and I need to kind of go back with like a 6-button controller and try it, because I only ever had the 3-button controller on the Genesis, and so it was always a struggle to play certain games.
It had the potential, and it was just missing a couple of things, and then they had an opportunity to get it improved for
Rival Schools is dope
for the Sega CD, and just ended up not just putting out the same game with.
So when they transferred things over to CD, I feel like, especially early on, I feel like things suffered. Like Mortal Kombat 2, when they tried to move it to CD, they limited who you could change into Shang Tsung because of the access speed. You could only mirror your opponent, which I thought was very frustrating, and that persisted for a long time with who he could change into, and really kind of hurt the character a lot for people who were good with him.
Would you say that King of the Monsters is a wrestling game or a fighting game or a brawler?
I think King of Monsters is more of like a brawler, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'd put that in the
Blaze
same
Blue
vein.
Cross Tag is really good.
I'd put that in the same vein as Saturday Night Slam Masters.
I love King of Monsters, but that's more of like it's kind of like if you took a grown-up version of Rampage and had like a rival monster you had to beat up.
Yeah.
It reminds me more of that. I actually think it's a lot better than a Rampage series overall. It just didn't get as many of them. I think there was only like 2 or 3 of them, whereas there's like dozens of Rampage games. I was shocked.
So here's a great question.
Yeah, some of the Eternal Champions ones did kind of put Mortal Kombat to shame, especially in the early years. Not anymore. Mortal Kombat's gotten pretty extreme.
Yeah.
But
yeah, some of those
I
do agree. I do agree with some of those fatalities in Eternal Champions. Some of them were pretty good.
Hasn't said Cyborg Justice. Most people are trying to forget that game exists.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Master of Teskai. Oh God,
that was a horrible.
What was your question?
I'm sorry, I can't with that one.
No, it's okay. SNK fighting games overall.
You talking about World Heroes, SNK versus,
Samurai Showdown.
Yeah. World Heroes I remember enjoying, but I never truly got into. The SNK series, the King of Fighters, I never got into as much until, God, it was probably like 13 or 14 when I really got into those. I was never huge into those early on. Samurai Showdown, I never dug into too deep. It had some really cool looking characters, but it was never one of my favorites. The ones I gravitated to the most growing up was originally Street Fighter, and then Mortal Kombat, and then Killer Instinct when it came out. Tekken a little bit. I never got much into 3D fighters until like Soul Calibur, Soul Edge, as it was called. I got pretty heavy into that series. Dead or Alive I got into when they had like the Dreamcast, and obviously for jiggle physics, and then stayed for the rest of the game. But I never got a good feel for Virtual Fighter. I still to this day don't have a good feel for Tekken. As much as I've played it, and I've played a pretty significant amount of it at this point.
I do think it's funny nobody in the chat has brought up Battle Arena to Shinden.
That only had like one entry, didn't it?
It launched.
It was early PS1, right?
It launched with the PS1.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Zombie
Time Killers is another one. And that was a
one.
crazy hard game because you could lose a limb at any point.
Oh yeah. So,
that was kind of all that game had too.
Yeah, Toe Ball was another one. That's the one that Ed Boon and John Tobias split over, I think. And I think John Tobias went to work on Toe Ball, and then I think he's done some games after that, but he's not been well known after that point.
Mike, what was the Tongue of the Fat Man game on?
Oh God.
Fighting Vipers was good. I played a little bit of that.
That was a DOS game.
There was a I'm thinking about at least the Genesis port. It wasn't very good.
Did that come out?
It's famous for being not very good. Was it World of Heroes, Mazen?
So Fighting Vipers was awesome.
Fight Crab is
Crab.
My God, I need to stream that. I need to get that game and stream it. I've forgotten all about that.
I played that game, I think.
It's a goofy looking game, but it looks so much fun.
I gotta shout back out to Zombie on those 3 games. Fighters Mega Mix was an insane.
Fighters Mega Mix I never messed with much. Last Bronx I didn't touch. Fighting Vipers I remember playing.
Last Bronx was really cool because before Soul Calibur showed up with weapons, Last Bronx was the kind of the first fighting game to really showcase weapons.
And then there's the whole Mortal Kombat 4 era of games where you had War Gods. There was one that I was trying to remember that came out of the N64 that I played to death, but was not a good fighting game. Oh my God. It was very much like Mortal Kombat 4 and... Oh, this doesn't even have it. There's no way. No, that's not right.
Oh, it's Slaughter Sport on the Sega Genesis.
Slaughter Sport. Why don't I remember Slaughter Sport?
Yeah, Tongue of the Fat Man. Then it's Mondu's Fight Palace on the Commodore 64. And then on the Genesis, it's called Slaughter Sport. But I think it's not very good in either form.
That could be why I don't remember it. Because I
think it's famous for being not good, though. So I think it, at least for that main character, the fat guy with the face in his stomach. Is it ringing a bell?
Yes. I remember Tongue of the Fat Man.
What's up, Media Glitch? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Media Glitch.
Wow, everybody's coming out tonight. This is dope. I haven't seen Media Glitch in a long time.
Def Jam, Fight for New York. That was a good... That Def Jam series was pretty good.
Mace the Dark Age was the one I was thinking of. I played the crap out of that game. That was an N64 exclusive fighting game that was reputedly not a very good fighting game, but played enough like Mortal Kombat 4 that I loved it at the time. Because I actually really enjoyed Mortal Kombat 4 at the time, but going back and trying to play it now is painful, to put it kindly.
Mazen mentioned a Double Dragon fighting game.
Oh, see, Media Glitch feels me.
Yeah. There was
like I know of the Streets of Rage fighting game.
Shaq Fu.
Or is it Streets of Rage? No, it's Final Fight fighting game.
Final Fight had one. Of course, there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get more into that one. That one looks interesting. Every time I see it, I think, man, I kind of want to play it.
You're gonna get a chance because it's in the TMNT.
All 3 versions too.
Yeah,
that's right. I need to. I've got a couple versions of it on like emulators and stuff. I've just never messed with it too much. And it's one I want to hook up like an arcade stick to and mess with it because I think you fight Super Shredder at the end, don't you?
You might. I don't know.
I haven't played it, so probably.
I didn't even know there was an animated series based off Double Dragon.
Yeah.
I'm not hugely surprised. I just didn't
Everything
know
had an animated series. RoboCop.
Yeah, I think everything
Rainbow.
at one point or another tried to have an animated series.
I think Running Man. I don't think it had a
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers
toys,
actually
though.
has one of the best fighters on the market as far as I'm concerned, as far right now, as far as playability, and that's Battle for the Grid. That game's amazing. There's so many varied combos you can do and ways to link things. Like I've seen people pull like 60 hit combos. I can barely get like a 12 or 14 hitter, but man, you can link so much stuff in that game. It's just insane. Oh, you do fight Super Sugar. Yeah, media glitch converted. You fight Super Sugar. That's dope.
Okay.
Double Dragon on Double Dragon on Neo Geo. I never messed with Double Dragon on Neo Geo. I thought you were saying like Double Dragon Neo, and I'm like, well, Skullmageddon's kind of an awesome character, but the rest of the game is a little sketchy for me. I want to love it. I just struggle with it hardcore. Girl Kill was fun when they turned it into a Wutong game. Now I heard about the Wutong game, but I never played it. It's the same way with a lot of those that were based on like rap groups or hip hop groups. Like I never messed with the 50 Cent games either. There was that Def Jam almost Pit Fighter like game that I never messed with either.
Def Jam was good. I'll give Def Jam was a good game. You know, there was a game.
Mutant League fighting game would be amazing. That is a lost opportunity.
There was an early OG Xbox fighting game called Kakaktu Choshin, and that was actually
the Duel. It's another neat one I never get to play.
A highly impressive game that never got because it didn't have a big name behind it. I'm probably even saying it wrong. It shows you. I've never been able to say it. Hold on, let me go grab it. This is the point in the show where I get up and grab.
I actually can't stay too much longer because I got to start work in about 35 minutes. I have a maintenance that starts at 11, and I need to log in a little early to make sure everything's kind of lined up.
Yeah, I don't have too many Saturn games, but Golden Axe the Duel is one of the ones.
Golden Axe the Duel is another one that looks really cool.
There we go. Kakuto.
I need to do like another like rare fighting game thing because I did an obscure fighting game video, and I had a lot of fun doing that one. But there's since been more that I've kind of found out about, and I just haven't sat down to do a video on it. Terradrome. I haven't even heard of that one. God, I'm gonna have to come back and watch this again for like rare fighting games and stuff. Matter of fact, I subscribe to a guy that I don't watch enough of, specifically because he just does like playthroughs of like fighting games, and a lot of them ones I haven't even heard of. Yeah. And I'm like, this is dope.
There's stuff that I don't play that I know, like a game that's coming back. JoJo's
Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah,
that's got on Dreamcast.
That's got a new version coming out soon. Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear.
Blaze Blue is actually quite a bit of fun. That can get really technical. Guilty Gear is a lot of fun. That's a cool series. The thing I like about Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear is I like that anime style look that they did with it. Dragon Ball Fighter Z did a good job of capturing that. That's another one that's really good, but also once you start getting into it, it gets really scary really fast. Scrambles is here. Awesome to see you, Scrambles. Terradrome has Pinhead Chucky. Wow, really? That's actually kind of dope.
Wow.
Now, I've seen some of these characters in Mortal Kombat games, but I've never seen them thrown into like their own fighting game.
Oh, when you said Pinhead, I went immediately to the character from the Puppet Master movies.
Oh, I went to Hellraiser.
Yeah, he went Hellraiser with that one, but I do like that Pinhead as well. I love Puppet Master. I thought that was a really underrated horror series, but that's a whole other conversation we can have. And matter of fact, I think we may have to drag Zombie in on that one if we do like.
Yeah, you did mention Castlevania Judgment too. I don't know if he was being ironic. I think he was.
Castlevania Judgment is interesting.
It has a good soundtrack.
Actually, I have played Melty Blood. I just got Melty Blood on a couple months ago, and that's a really interesting fighter. It's kind of got the auto combo system from Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but it's more effective if you kind of manual into it the same way. And it's got some interesting movesets. I need to dig more into that one, but that's a really good fighter. It's very solid. Sesame Street Fighter, Birth, Big Hurts, the fighting game we didn't know we were missing, and proof we live in the wrong timeline.
Yes.
Oh, I love it when Rap comes in with a comment like that. That's great.
I think there was also PlayStation had a series Bloody Roar, which was
somebody mentioned Bloody Roar earlier. That was actually mentioned multiple times. And
Yeah, I
Bloody
missed
Roar
it.
was interesting because you had like your human form and then like your animal form, and that got kind of goofy with some of them because some of them were like rabbits and I think chipmunks and other silly things, but they made it work. It played pretty solid from what I recall.
yeah.
I have you know what? I've heard of that one and I never picked it up, and I meant to. Meanie Glitch. That's one of those I had on my radar and I totally spaced on it, and I meant to pick it up because I remember seeing some videos on that going, that actually looks really good.
There were some
Eugene, I actually want that game. There aren't many really unique games for the Wii. That's one that I never had the I never took the opportunity to buy it out of the bargain bin
Judgment.
all the times that I saw it.
Talking about the Castlevania Judgment fighting game, yeah.
Which had a lot of cool characters from the Castlevania series, and it had a really amazing soundtrack. So,
it even mentioned, I want to say like Sonya was mentioned in it, or as part of like a super or something like that in it. She might have even been playable, and she hasn't really been playable outside of like the one Game Boy game ever, and they pretty much wrote her out of the lore.
Well, I guess it depends on how much Igarashi had to do with the game.
What, Mortal Kombat? No.
What?
What is this Mortal Kombat you speak of, sir?
Yeah, when was that? When did that come out?
Supreme Warrior, I've seen some on. That looked painful, but interesting.
Later, Mike.
Mike bailing on us already?
No, he mentioned.
Might just randomly vacates the room.
He's talking about this game.
Okay, hold on.
It's a full motion video fighting.
I've seen some information on that one. I've seen some gameplay on it, but I've never played it, and it looks very frustrating.
It is.
To say the least.
Frustrating. They're all frustrating because you have to figure out when to press the button and which button to press. If you want to talk about a timing,
it's kind of like Dragon's Lair in fighting game form.
Yeah, it's Prize Fighter.
Somebody had mentioned Tattoo Assassins a couple of times. Meaning Glitch. I may have to look that one up, and I'm gonna have to write some of these down and try to go out and find these. I thought about trying to set something up like maybe once a month that people could get together and like do a fighting game or something like that, but we'd have to like pick one and then have people get together. Every fighting game ever made.
What we're doing.
It would be a lot.
I think we're trying.
That's kind of what we're doing. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's one of my few Famicom games that actually have complete in box. It's not for as kind of notorious, not really notorious, for as much of a kind of a niche and collectible game is. It's not expensive. So I was surprised to be able to get it really cheap, complete in box.
You know, the Pokemon, the Dokkan game that they came out with, that tournament fighter game, was actually surprisingly fun and kind of technical. I really enjoyed that one.
It was basically it was Tekken, right? Just with the
kind of, but
that's what the
here's the weird thing: is you shared this. Since you shared the same screen, one person would be in the forefront of the screen, one person would be in the back, which means the person who was in the back of the screen at a slight disadvantage because their perspective was weird. But you kind of faced each other this way; it wasn't to the side like a normal fighting game, and you would kind of move around a little bit like Tekken, but it's a very unusual layout for a fighting game, but it worked.
I got it when we first got our Switch.
Because, Pokken Tournament. That's it.
My kids love Pokemon. I like Pokemon. No one really took to it quite as much as we all kind of thought. Maybe that's what we got it on. I think we got it on the Wii U.
It plays.
The Pokemon that
plays
like
better on the Switch.
They
dropped a version on the Switch.
Other than Blaziken. So
Blaziken wasn't bad. Mewtwo was actually really, really strong. Pikachu, they put a Lucha Libre version of Pikachu in the game, and he was like one of our favorites. He was an absolute blast.
I like that design of Pikachu.
Oh, and he even had like an in-ring thing where he'd get up on the top rope and like, Pikachu! And then he'd go up the top rope and everything. It was amazing. It was probably one of the best specials in the game. It was just so much fun. ARMS is kind of a fighting game. I kind of put it in that classification. It's a weird one. I never really messed with ARMS too much outside the demo. It looked pretty fun, but I never got too deep into it. And I don't know if there was a ton of depth. I knew you could change like the different hand components and they would do different things. Some are faster, some are obviously heavier and did different effects. But I never fully got well versed in that one. There's been so many lately. There's been a huge resurgence in fighting games in the last couple of years, which has been pretty great to see because it was pretty much a drought outside of just Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter for a long time. You didn't have Soul Calibur. You didn't really have any new DOAs coming out. You didn't have any virtual fighters coming out. Pretty much all those went by, a lot of the mainstays went by the wayside. Even a lot of the SNK games kind of went under the radar for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Zombie brought this up earlier. No one got a chance to acknowledge it. Urban Champion on the NES.
I think I threw it up, but I don't know that we really talked about it because I didn't really know much about it.
I don't think it's a very good game. I think he was being kind of silly too. I think half the stream has been people just being ironic, but
maybe, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Ironic or silly, it's perfectly fine either way.
X-Men Children of the Atom is actually a really, really good game.
I had that one on the PS1.
Yep, that's a good
really
one.
Good game. I actually still play that one occasionally because I bought a buddy of mine an arcade one-up because one of his favorite fighting games is the one of them was X-Men Children of the Atom, and the other one was like the very first Marvel superheroes game. So that had both of them on it with like a light up marquee and all that. So I bought him that for like Christmas, and we play that one semi regularly. We have a pretty good time with it. Eternal Champions, I feel like probably deserves a revisit. I would like to see that one revisited. And Fist of the North Star is one of those that I play. I think I remember playing one of those on the Game Boy and having fun with it, but I didn't know. I had no context to the anime or the manga related to it, so I knew nothing about the characters other than the fact that they looked cool. And that's another one that I think could work out really well. But man, that show gets really brutal really fast. I don't know how you. Guess you could do a Mortal Kombat with it. I guess it would work.
So real quick, of all the most popular common game genres, where would you rank fighting games compared to like shooters and sports games and RPGs and all that? Either one of you.
It's cool, Meanie Glitch. Thanks for popping in, man. I love it when you come to hang out, man. Anytime you stop by, it's always good to see you, man. Thank you so much. I honestly, I don't play as much of them now. They used to be like my top tier. That was like my go-to game type was fighters. It hasn't been in the last couple of years because I've kind of gotten out of them a bit. I still buy tons of them. I just don't spend enough time on them to get decent at them now. But they were pretty top tier for a while for me. Sandwich would put them low. That's not a surprise. I think a lot of people in our chat are bigger into platformers,
probably
and
just above sports
and
games
stuff
for
like
me.
that.
So
yeah,
I will check that out, Zombie. We'll make a note of that right now.
I mean, for me, they're okay in clips, but I'm not.
I have to really, really be sold on the universe, like Darkstalkers. I love Darkstalkers just because I love the characters in that game. Not because I like fighting games, but that's an example of one where the theme of the game will sell me more than the gameplay itself.
Yeah, I can understand that.
See, I kind of like the technical aspects of them. I like learning the combos and learning how the characters move and learning how to link things, and I found that aspect really fascinating about fighting games. So I've always had like a strong desire to kind of learn that and have fun with that. So I've always pretty much enjoyed them. They've always been kind of in the back of my mind. Like when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, I played that a ton, and still boot it up and play it occasionally. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, I'll boot that up and play that occasionally. Street Fighter 5, I'll pick up and play occasionally. I haven't messed with Guilty Gear or Melty Blood or any of those as much as I probably should have. I was pretty big into Skullgirls for a little while. They're more fun when I have somebody that I can either talk to about them or kind of play with occasionally with them, because I've gotten into some of them heavily that way. I don't dig into them as much now as I used to, because I've gotten more into like doing retro games that can kind of pick up, kind of push through, and I've got so many games on my list now, and more that come every day, partially because of Evercade, that it's hard to justify spending the time on those when I could be playing something new, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. That actually does. I know exactly what you mean. It's just hard. It's hard to play them and master them like I used to, right? When there's so much other stuff out there to play. And that's where you lose me on them, you know. Plus, I don't have the time to put towards getting so good at them that I can hang with some of these younger people now that, you know, that's what they do.
Yeah, well, and I feel that,
That
way
was a
about
big topic earlier, Rob. You missed it,
Yeah.
but that was a debate we had ad nauseum. I would say, and just like you said, it was like it's a subgenre.
Yeah. And realistically, I kind of the way you're talking about kids and having them having time and not having time, that's me with like every online game, right?
Right.
I don't dig into a lot of the online shooters anymore, primarily because I don't have the time to dedicate to it to get decent at it, and I feel like a pretty big hindrance most of the time I'm on there, or I'm just frustrated because I can't seem to get anywhere. So and I struggle with the same way with fighters. Like the first couple of days, I could probably compete a little bit here and there. After a couple of weeks have passed and people really started figuring out the mechanics and how to use them, I start to fall very quickly by the wayside because I'm not going to pick up the speed on it that quickly. I don't have the reaction time for it, for one. And two, I don't have the time. And the time is the biggest gating factor.
That's
right?
the killer.
Because you can compensate for not being able to execute like all the perfect combos by having the time to learn the tells of when those things are coming and learning to counter them, or just block them and stop them entirely, right? So there's tricks you can learn to do that and kind of push the fight your way, where it kind of comes a little bit more of a dance here and there of who makes the biggest mistake and then capitalizing. But it's having the time to invest in that.
Right.
Yeah,
As
fighting
for
games
me,
are kind of
I
like
don't
chess.
like
There's a
fighting
tremendous amount of
games,
depth to the
really.
game. At the end of the day, you'd rather put that time into a dozen other board games. Yeah. And that's the struggle. Like if that's the kind of game type you like or you find one you really love, it really does become sort of a chess match. Like if you watch two really good people start to dig into, say, something like Street Fighter, or even to a lesser extent Mortal Kombat, and you watch them go back and forth, it looks really boring for a little while. Then you watch somebody make a mistake, and then they lose about half their life bar. And the guy's still got stuff left in the tank to deal with them. He's still got resources left that he hasn't spent yet.
Right.
And so, but it's getting to that level to where you can pay attention to that, and then when you have that one opening, you really can capitalize. But you don't push too far because then you leave yourself open to eating the same level of damage. That's kind of where those games really lead to, and why I think they're so great. But I often just don't have the time to be able to dig into them the way I would really like to.
Yeah.
And, that might honestly be a bad idea, like an age category that you could dump yourself into. Because I know a lot of times, like when you're trying to get into something like a fighting game, like the first couple of weeks, casual matches are fine. You can get casual matches, and that's where you can get anybody of any skill level, and it's not a high stress. Nobody's getting like all pissed, and nobody's really going uber hardcore. And then after a while, everybody goes into like ranked matches because now there's ranked in everything. And then you can't get casual matches anymore where you can just sit down and play a match or two and have a good time and have a laugh. It's all got to be like ranked mode. And so nobody comes out to play in those a lot of times. And so that becomes very frustrating to try to, hey, get a match. And plus online, I find online with fighters is frustrating anyway, because you go in a queue, you wait, you jump in, maybe somebody jumps out, then you go to the back of the queue again and you wait, then you load in, and then if you're doing well, then somebody drops out before the end of the match, and then what's your win-loss like? Then you got to wait, and I don't know. I feel like you get more time for your wait time in FPS than you do with online fighters.
If you can't NDR a game, I don't want to play it.
Well, you can no death run a fighting game.
I know, I was kidding, but I just don't like. I've never really been into multiplayer games, and the fighting game genre is the focus is really for multiplayer, so it's kind of lost on me.
Yeah.
Well, fighters, a lot of times I'll just play through them for the story mode or just to play around with the different characters, and I'll do survival versus computer. That was one of my favorite modes in Dead or Alive, actually, was just survival mode against the computer. I play that all day. And then the tag team mode, I had a lot of fun with that before they pulled that out of most of the versions, which I was severely disappointed in. Even in Street Fighter V, I'll go through like survival and have fun with that, just messing around, or just do the arcade mode or story mode. But somebody I haven't messed with, and I have enough fun with those. Now, if I can get somebody to play with, that's great too. But a lot of these, if they have a decent story, like that's where Tekken kind of falls apart for me, because Tekken's story mode, at least in their last one, was like 3 fights and you're done. And the story is terrible. Like, I've never seen a good Tekken storyline. It's just awful. And I don't have a high bar for fighting game storylines. And those are awful. You know, honestly, they do a pretty good job if they have stuff like rollback netcode and things like that. There's ways to make it work pretty clean. Latency is always the thing. But this is a lot of people that play online can play at a high level online, or very high level, if the fighting game is designed right for online play. Don't count towards the NDR. Okay. But I can dash jump easily. I feel like that's just to get my Mega Man X skills, which is fine. Yeah. I actually, that's kind of why I thought about doing something like that on the channels, just having like a big group thing and getting people into parties. And then so everybody could watch and then come up with their turn to play, and then they'd fight, and people could just have fun with it playing against each other. And you wouldn't have to worry about the randomness of online. It's just a bunch of us that don't know how to play the game playing the game. That's kind of where my headspace was going with it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do that, though. I was, and
then I never got around to starting it, and nobody really. There were a couple of people that seemed excited by it, and then it never really kind of off in the chat.
It's kind of like sports games. There aren't as many people into fighting games. Obviously, as we're seeing here tonight, there's plenty of fans. It might be a tough sell to get a lot of people into it.
Yeah.
Even though I wouldn't want to play really, but I'd love to actually just watch and see everyone kind of come together on that.
I might try to push for it, because what I originally wanted to do was I wanted to throw everybody into the mix to begin with, and then as people started separating out, like these are the people that are really good, these are the people that are okay, these are the people that just pound buttons. No, separate them into different groups so they can all like fight, right? That way everybody feels like they kind of have a chance, because they're finding people like a closer to the skill level, right? And I don't know how you'd separate that, maybe through like a tournament or something like that, and occasionally hold a new tournament or something like that, and let people kind of filter through where they want to be. And if you want to move up, you move up. If you don't, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, and not like a big pressure thing, but just try to figure out where you don't have somebody who knows like maybe how to do a fireball and spam light punch against somebody that knows how to do like a 15-hit combo or something, right? And can just trash somebody in one combo, because that's not really going to be fun for either person. You know what I mean? And the idea is to kind of keep it fun as much as you can. Yeah, Tatsunoko versus Capcom was actually a lot of fun.
That's another one.
I've actually got the arcade stick for that one. I like that one a lot. I haven't played it in years, but that's a cool fighting game, man. I wish they would relaunch that on another platform. I feel like it really got undersold because it was on the Wii.
It was another one that I just I didn't jump on the chance to get it when it was in the bargain bin, and now it's more collectible and harder to come by. Plus, I didn't know who I don't know the franchise that is opposite Capcom on that one. So
Zombie, I kind of wanted it just so like anybody who jumped in could eventually have a good time with it. No, that was the idea. I don't know. I it's hard with fighting games. It's kind of hard when you do anything competitively. What's
Kind
up,
of.
Kami?
Hey, Kamikaze.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably right. I would like to see that one revisited as well, or something closer to that vein.
Kind of.
Anyway, I got to kind of wrap up here. It is 10:30. I have work in like less than 30 minutes. So I need to dart out for the evening here pretty soon. So, final thoughts on this topic. I know it wasn't exactly your guys' favorite topic. I could talk this a lot because I had a lot of fun with it back in the day, and still do from time to time. And I thought you guys were into it because you guys had mentioned it back to me when I had thrown it out as an idea at one point.
I think because
so I thought everybody was kind of into it.
You could go. It's funny how far you can go into fighting games. When you start to look at them, I mean, we didn't even get into the Capcom stuff.
That's true,
right? So
yeah, the Capcom stuff is pretty much the anchor of all fighting games, in my opinion. The Street Fighters, the Versus series, Darkstalkers, which we barely touched on, which I adore that series. Terrible at it, but I love that series.
Right. So that's kind of what I mean is that we could get in the end the best fighting. He's not wrong.
Oh my god, I love our chat so much. You guys are awesome.
Totally not wrong.
I'm sad every time we take a week off and I don't have like this going on in chat.
He is totally correct.
Yeah, it's not a topic I could personally talk about for 2 hours, but I'm fond of enough fighting games that I knew I could at least sit and smile during a topic. So that's why I reminded you that you wanted to talk about this.
He could sit and smile and wave, boys, smile and wave.
See, I grew up playing some of these competitively, like Soul Calibur 2. I played a lot with a buddy. MVC 2, we'd spend like an entire lunch break. And between classes, we'd take a Dreamcast to school. We'd hook it up at a TV in a place, and we'd just play it for hours. And like smallest team possible. Like we'd have revenge teams for when somebody was being a particular dick with character lineups and stuff like that. We'd pull out certain characters, and then they knew shit got real. They're like, "Oh crap, you're pissed." You noticed? Yeah, a little bit. I haven't messed with Fightcade.
No, I'm not.
Wait, MrMatthews was here tonight? I thought it was a doll.
Hear that all the time.
It's just like my job. Smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave.
Jim, are you going to start streaming again, my man? I haven't seen you streaming forever. Am I just missing it? Or have you just kind of gotten fed up with OBS to the point you don't want to fool with it anymore? I'll have to look up Fightcade.
I'm not familiar with it.
I'm not either.
Well, if you guys don't like fighting games, why would you talk
Fightcade online?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's best way to play retro games online. All right.
Oh, is it more than just fighting games?
No, it looks like it's just... Okay, so it looks like it's an emulator or a layout to basically add netcode to older fighting games so that you can play them online with people.
Fightcade is a matchmaking platform for retro gaming bundled with different emulators for seamless online play.
Oh, like for like Contra and stuff. Double Dragon 2.
Is Contra a fighting game?
Is it only fighting games? You said
no. It says Fightcade is not only about fighting games, though. It supports any game that its emulator support.
So you might be able to pretend to do like local co-op with something like, say, Contra or God forbid if you're desperate at Card Warriors or something like that.
Well, actually, plenty of those games are actually on the Switch's
You
online
know
thing.
what? Since you said that, Nick,
I don't.
This would be a great controller to play Akari Warriors with. And since
might be, you could just use an arcade stick for that too, though.
You can, but the thing about Akari Warriors was it had the dial to turn your guy.
Oh, I didn't remember that, but
yeah,
I only played it on like the NES. I never played it in the arcade, so I probably never had the dial. It was very frustrating on the NES.
Yes, which is probably why you don't like it, and I don't blame you for that. That is a hard...
I have not done a lot of the online co-op there, Jim. It would be worth a try. I just haven't messed with it. It'll be another SF5, 8 to 10 characters, rest sold at price, or usually they'll have us on the whole package. Yeah, Capcom does it all the time, man. It's kind of like disappointing.
It's how they make their money.
It is how they make their money.
Jim, I've been wanting to try it also. I just haven't.
We need to figure out a day to hook up and do something, just like a community get-together thing. Mm-hmm. We need to spend some time figuring that out. And if I do, I'll probably do like a video on it and like do a general invite. But I think we need to get a core group together to try to
I've talked to a few people about doing 21 Sandwich, about doing Toe Jam and Earl, and then other people about the Double Dragon 2, Mario 3. It just a lot of talk.
Yeah, and that's really what it is, because everybody's busy, man. That's really what it boils down to. Everybody's crazy busy. And probably what we need to do is we just get a small get together. We'll play Earthworm Jim. Love you, Mazen. You guys love twisting that knife. I earned that one though. That's fine. I totally earned that. What we probably need to do is we need to find a time that works for like 4 or 5 people that can like always like 1 or 2 of them can kind of show up, and then whoever else shows up, like cool. You know what I mean? And eventually it'll kind of grow into its own thing. People will show up when they have time and they know what time it is, and then they can pop in and, have that kind of thing going on. So keeps laughing in Spanish.
Eugene, I'm just curious how well it works. I mean, there's several multiplayer games on there. It'd be just like perfect just to try out casually.
See, Tommy's down for it. I
mean, we all have a Switch.
Yeah. So. Yeah, most everybody I know has a Switch, so we could at least do something with that, if nothing else, and we could get everybody into like a big Discord chat or something like that.
That would be so fun to watch someone stream. If there's like say for example Eugene and Omega Ace, if they were both playing a game together and then one of them was streaming it, so we were watching them play it. Make that happen. That'd be great.
You know what we might be able to do, because you can do the share screen here
through Discord.
We could pop people in and out of here from, like, say, Discord as people are in, and have like one person host and maybe jump in. But we could have people share their screen as they're in here, so that the 2 people are playing together. You can see it at least from one person's perspective, and that might work real well. We'll have to play around with that. Maybe we can do some. Maybe we can get a couple of people together and mess around with that this weekend, just to experiment with it and see how it works. Get a couple of people in.
Well, zombies all the cold bucket of water on the whole thing. And I don't doubt that he's right.
Nintendo is bad. Is it that bad?
That's why I'm kind of curious to try it. I just want to see how well it works. I can't imagine that it would work as well as sitting on the couch.
Oh God, no, it won't. It won't work as well as sitting on the couch.
But I mean, is it broken bad, or is it just we could deal with it bad?
I don't know. Well, like I said, let's see what we can figure out. Right now, I do have to go because I got work pretty soon.
Okay.
But I'm gonna mull this over a little bit. I'll probably set up a thing in my channel. You guys, if any of you aren't in my Discord and want to be in my Discord, if you go to the About section on my channel, there should be a Discord link there. That should be a permanent link at this point, and you should be able to join the Discord there. When we get a few people in there, we can start figuring out like a core group that can kind of set up and work this thing. That way people can kind of pop in and out as they want to. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to be there all the time. That way, there's a couple people here and then we can figure it out. People can go in there and check and be like, hey, I'm running it this week. It'll be on like my channel here or there, or whatnot, So that way, even if one person's out for whatever reason, somebody else could pick it up and the event could still happen, right?
Oh, later, Mike.
That would be ideal, at least. That way, it's always kind of around for people to play. But anyway, I'm going to bounce out of here. Everybody have a great night. Thank you so much for coming. Any last thoughts?
No. Other than I like video games.
Video games good. I like it.
And
Mike said he'd be right
Mike's
back.
just out.
I don't know where he went.
I don't know if he's going to get back in time, unless he's.
That's cold water sounds amazing right now. Silver's glass of sweet tea. That sounds amazing too. It all sounds
Okay,
amazing
sorry.
too. Oh, Mike's back. Mike, you're back. We're at the end of the show. Last thoughts?
Video games are great.
Video games good. I like it.
Video games are good.
End of day thought, our revolutionary thought for the day. Video games good.
Video games good. Video games good.
Jim put it perfectly. Video games are good.
Video games are good. They're good. You can play them. You can press the buttons and the thing does it.
That's right. Push the button and the guy jumps or shoots or does stuff.
Yeah, if you need to know more, watch Nick's videos about it.
That's right. Game's good.
Lick's Switch card. Oh my goodness.
It said my brain don't work so good. As always, guys, you have been amazing. The chat is what keeps us going for this so long. Otherwise, we would have babbled ourselves senseless in about 40 minutes. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and spending time with us tonight. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you not next week, but the week after. Happy gaming.
Good night, everyone.
Play on, gamers.